Hi children, this is Miss Anita Cristilda going to teach you all the first poem of class 7, The Squirrel, written by Mildred Bowers Armstrong. This is a very short poem, and in this poem we are going to get a description of a squirrel by the poet in view of a child. I'll read this poem for you. You read along with me, or else you pause and read the poem. The Squirrel. He wore a question mark for tail, an overcoat of grey. He sat up straight to eat a nut, he liked to tease and play. And if he ran around his tree, he went the other way. Let's go with the line-by-line explanation of the squirrel poem. He wore a question mark for tail. Here, the poet describes that a tail looks like a question mark. Usually, we don't say an animal wears a tail. In order to add rhythm to the poem, the poet has used wore. An overcoat of grey. In the second line, the poet describes the body of the squirrel is compared to an overcoat. During winter, we all wear overcoat, isn't it? In the same way, the body is covered with fur, which is grey in color. It looks as if the squirrel wears an overcoat. The third line, he sat up straight to eat a nut. Whenever a squirrel eats a nut, it sits erect and then eats a nut. In the fourth line, he liked to tease and play. Here, he is a fun-loving, naughty and a playful animal. So, these squirrels like to tease and play. The last two lines, and if we ran around his tree, he went the other way. In these lines, we can see the human intervention. Here, we refers to the poet and her friends. Whenever they run behind the squirrel to catch it, it changes its running direction and runs the other side. So this is the explanation of the squirrel poem. Let's go with the summary of this poem. The squirrel. In this poem, the poet describes a squirrel that he observes in his garden. The poet describes how the squirrel is covered in grey fur, which sits in an upright position on a tree branch, eating a nut. His tails look like a question mark because of its bent shape. The happy, lively, and the naughty squirrel loves to play with the poet and her friends. Whenever they ran around the tree, the squirrel would also run to the other side of the tree. Let's learn the poetic devices of this poem. So first one is personification. It is used to personify a non-living thing or other creatures as human beings. In this poem, the word he, is used to personify squirrel. Second, rhyme scheme. The order pattern of rhymes at the end of a poem. They are labeled according to their rhyming sounds. They are represented as A, B, C, D, E, F, etc. When we go with the rhyme scheme, let's look into the first line. The last word ends with tail. So, we shall label it as A. Let's go with the second line. It ends with grey. So, tail and grey, they are not rhyming. So, therefore, we shall label it as B. So, we shall go with the third line. It ends with nut. It does not rhyme with tail, grey. So therefore, let's name it as C. He liked to tease and play. In this, play, it rhymes with the word grey. So therefore, we shall label it as B. In the fifth line, it ends with tree. It doesn't rhyme with any of these words. So we shall label it as D. Now let's go with the last line. It ends with way. So grey, play and way. All these three are rhyming words and these are highlighted with red color. So we shall label the last one as B. So therefore, the rhyming scheme would be AB, CB and D. I hope you all understood the poem, children, and the poetic devices involved. So thanks for watching. Let's meet in the next video.